In every age, people have asked the same questions. What is the good life? How should we treat one another? What does it mean to be free or virtuous or just? What does it mean to be human? Western moral philosophy for beginners and Selenius Media takes you on a guided journey through the minds that shaped the moral backbone of the West, from the earliest Greek thinkers to the modern age. Lived stories of struggle, ambition, conflict, revelation, all unfolding against the sweep of history. If you've ever wanted to understand philosophy clearly, calmly, and humanly, if you want to know not just what these thinkers argued, but why it mattered, follow Western moral philosophy for beginners today and explore 10 more podcasts at Selenius Media. Zeno of Citium, the founder of Stoicism, emerged in the early 3rd century BCE, a time when philosophical thought was evolving in response to the uncertainties of the Hellenistic world. Born in Citium, a city on the island of Cyprus, Zeno's work marked a transformative moment in moral philosophy, laying the groundwork for a school of thought that emphasized virtue, reason, and the importance of living in accordance with nature. While Zeno's life and biographical details may have been addressed in earlier episodes, his enduring significance derives from several key concepts and teachings that resonate deeply within moral philosophy. At the heart of Stoicism lies the idea that virtue is the highest good, an assertion articulated compellingly in Zeno's main work, The Republic. Though this text is regrettably lost to us today, we do, however, have fragments and references from later writers that allow us to glean insights into his moral framework. Zeno's emphasis on virtue as central to a good life challenges the prevailing views of his time, which often focused on external goods, wealth, power, or pleasure, as sources of happiness. Instead, he argued that true contentment arises from the cultivation of virtues such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. For Zeno and the Stoics, the path to a virtuous life involves the mastery of one's internal state, emotions, impulses, and reactions, rather than an uncritical pursuit of external validations or possessions. One of Zeno's most critical arguments is the concept of living in accordance with nature, which he interprets not merely as the physical world, but in a larger ethical sense as well. In this view, nature is rational and ordered, and thus human beings, as part of this larger order, ought to align their lives with this rationality. This alignment is a path toward achieving eudaimonia, a term often translated as flourishing or well-being, which is rooted in living a life of virtue. According to Zeno, disregard for this alignment with nature leads to a life of discord, marked by anxiety and suffering. To make these ideas more tangible, let's consider 2 core arguments that exemplify Zeno's moral philosophy. The first is the idea of emotional detachment cultivated through rational understanding. Zeno believed that many of our emotional disturbances arise from our judgments and perceptions about the world rather than from the world itself. For instance, if one loses a job, a situation that can invoke despair or distress, it is not the loss itself that causes suffering, but the judgment we make about the loss. A Stoic approach encourages individuals to reframe such judgments, recognizing that their self-worth and happiness should not be contingent on external factors. This equips individuals with resilience, allowing them to cope with life's unpredictability. The second argument centers on the interconnectivity of all human beings. Zeno posited that since we are part of a larger rational order, we have a duty to act towards others with justice and benevolence. This perspective challenges the notion of individualistic pursuits, insisting instead that our actions should reflect an understanding of our shared humanity. This can be reflected in modern discussions about collective responsibility in relation to global issues such as climate change or social justice, where progress relies on individuals acting not only in their own interests, but also in consideration of the common good. Now let's connect these Stoic teachings to areas we encounter in contemporary society. In politics, for example, Zeno's ideas about virtue and justice can frame discussions around leadership and governance. In a time often marked by divisive rhetoric and partisan conflict, a Stoic approach would advocate for leaders to prioritize ethical conduct and shared human values over self-serving ambitions. By fostering a political landscape guided by rationality and virtue, societal well-being could take precedence over sheer power dynamics. In the realm of medicine, Zeno's notion of emotional detachment could be particularly relevant. Consider the practice of physicians and healthcare providers who encounter suffering and death daily. A Stoic perspective encourages these individuals to understand their emotional responses, helping them navigate personal distress while maintaining compassionate care for patients. By grounding their ethics in reason and understanding human interconnectedness, medical professionals can offer humane care that respects patient dignity and autonomy, even in challenging circumstances. In the rapidly evolving landscape of technology and artificial intelligence, Zeno's moral philosophy raises critical ethical considerations. As technology increasingly shapes our existence, we must ask ourselves whether our reliance on digital tools aligns with virtues that enhance human well-being. Zeno would likely urge us to reflect on our values and ensure that the technologies we develop promote rational and compassionate interactions. By aligning AI development with Stoic values, there exists potential for fostering outcomes that benefit society rather than exacerbate divisions or harm vulnerable populations. Despite the enduring influence of Zeno's ideas, they are not without criticisms. One significant contention revolves around the Stoic view of emotions. Some critics argue that Stoicism promotes an overly austere approach to human feelings, dismissing the value of emotions as sources of insight and motivation. Emotions, they argue, can serve important roles in our human experience. The ability to feel deeply connects us with others and can even inspire ethical action. This critique led later thinkers, such as the Roman Stoic Seneca and the philosopher Epictetus, to refine Zeno's initial teachings, suggesting a more nuanced understanding of emotions, one that acknowledges their complexity but emphasizes the importance of managing them through reason. Reflecting on these criticisms, we can also find relevance in the ideas of earlier philosophers, like Socrates, who famously asserted that the unexamined life is not worth living. Like Zeno, Socrates emphasized the importance of self-awareness and ethical living, urging followers to question their beliefs and strive for moral integrity. Similarly, when we consider later figures in the Western moral tradition, such as Immanuel Kant, we see a diverging yet complementary approach to ethics. Kant's categorical imperative, a principle urging that individuals act only according to maxims that could be universalized, mirrors Zeno's call for reasoning guided by virtue and the common good. As we draw this discussion to a close, we might reflect on how Zeno's thoughts on virtue and rationality apply to our own lives today. The challenge often lies in balancing our internal states with the external world's unpredictability. The Stoic practice of examining our judgments can be a powerful tool in navigating the noise of modern existence. When faced with challenges, be they personal or societal, consider asking yourself whether your responses align with your core values and what steps you can take to cultivate a more virtuous life. In a world filled with distractions and competing values, Zeno's teachings can serve as a compass, guiding us toward a life woven with purpose and interconnectedness, reminding us that our pursuit of virtue is as vital today as it was in his time. Continuing our exploration of Zeno of Citium, it's essential to delve deeper into some of the philosophical implications embedded in his ideas, particularly those that resonate profoundly with our moral compass today. Zeno's Stoicism not only addresses individual ethics, but invites broader discussions about societal structures, collective morals, and the nature of justice within communities. Understanding these dimensions can illuminate the pathways to apply Zeno's philosophy in our daily lives. One of Zeno's central tenets is the concept of the cosmopolis, which suggests that the world is a single community governed by rationality and justice. In this view, every person is part of a larger whole, and consequently, moral responsibilities extend beyond personal interests to include consideration for the welfare of the entire human family. This broad perspective serves as a cornerstone for contemporary debates about globalization and our shared human experience. In a world where borders seem increasingly irrelevant through the lens of technology and communication, can we embrace Zeno's call to recognize our interdependence? Imagine the global challenges we face today, such as climate change, inequality, or public health crises. Zeno's belief in the shared rationality among individuals bolsters the argument for collective action against these pressing issues. As everyday citizens, political leaders, and businesses grapple with these challenges, Zeno's philosophy advocates for a unified response grounded in virtue and justice. When we act with the awareness of our interconnectedness, we have the potential to collaborate across divides, emphasizing the virtue of solidarity over the impulse of individualism. Thus, Zeno's idea of cosmopolitan ethics becomes not merely a philosophical abstraction, but a practical framework for contemporary action. Zeno also asserted that virtue was achievable through practice and reflection. He emphasized that individuals could cultivate virtuous qualities not solely through intellectual understanding, but through habitual practice. This idea can connect directly with modern psychological theories about habit formation and personal development. Cognitive behavioral strategies, for instance, focus on changing one's beliefs and actions through deliberate practice, much like Zeno's Stoic exercise of virtue. In daily life, this might manifest in moment-to-moment choices, encouraging us to develop habits that foster mindfulness, empathy, and integrity. Let's look more closely at a key Stoic exercise known as premeditation of evils, or premeditatio malorum. This exercise entails contemplating potential difficulties and challenges one might face in the future to prepare oneself mentally and emotionally. Zeno believed that by anticipating struggles, individuals could reduce their emotional responses when those situations arise, cultivating resilience and clarity. Today, this practice can be found in various stress management and mindfulness techniques, which encourage individuals to confront anxiety and uncertainty with a level of equanimity. This contemplation might lead us to weigh not just personal hardships, but also societal ones, pushing us to consider how our actions might impact the collective good. Additionally, Zeno's conviction that rational thought guides ethical behavior invites us to scrutinize our decisions deeply. For instance, in the realm of technology and artificial intelligence, ethical dilemmas abound. How do we balance innovation with the potential consequences of our tech-driven world? Zeno's emphatic call for alignment with virtue urges innovators and consumers alike to contemplate the moral implications behind advancements like AI. Are we developing technologies that promote human flourishing? Or are we prioritizing profit and convenience at the expense of ethical considerations? This self-examination resonates with Zeno's teachings, encouraging both creators and users to infuse their interactions with a sense of shared purpose and ethical consideration. Turning to some criticisms of Zeno's Stoicism, we must also address a recurring theme in philosophical discourse: the challenge of balancing rationality with emotional authenticity. Critics have often pointed out the potential dangers of a philosophical framework that seems to sidestep the rich complexities of human emotions. How does one reconcile the Stoic ideal of emotional detachment with the inherent necessity of empathy and connection in human relationships? This contention isn't merely academic. It permeates our everyday interactions, guiding how we engage with others in both personal and professional settings. While Zeno emphasized the importance of managing one's emotions through reason, later Stoics, like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, acknowledged the value of emotions as integral to the human experience. They recommended not a flat suppression of feelings, but a thoughtful examination of them. Emotions can inform our ethical behavior and provide insights into the needs and suffering of others. Thus, Zeno's philosophy opens a pathway for dialogue about emotional intelligence and its role in guiding ethical choices. Whether in politics, where leaders must connect with constituents on an emotional level, or in healthcare, where providers must empathize with patients, a balanced approach that honors both reason and emotion is crucial for nurturing relationships grounded in morality. As we dig deeper into the implications of Stoicism, we might also examine the interplay between Zeno's teachings and contemporary movements advocating for social justice and equality. The Stoic commitment to justice as a universal principle aligns closely with ongoing discussions about systemic injustices. This connection becomes profoundly relevant in analyzing how societal structures uphold or undermine human dignity. Zeno's assertion that we are all part of a larger rational community invites us to consider the moral imperative of working towards justice for all individuals, especially marginalized communities. For instance, within movements addressing racial injustice, advocates often highlight the interconnectedness of societal issues, drawing on Zeno's cosmopolitan ethics. Just as Zeno urged individuals to act in accordance with virtue for the betterment of humanity, contemporary activists strive to dismantle oppressive systems, advocating for justice across racial, economic, and social areas. The Stoic model of virtue and the acknowledgement of shared humanity can provide a philosophical basis for understanding the collective responsibility we have towards one another. Moreover, Zeno's commitment to reason as a guiding principle also encourages critical discourse. In a world characterized by polarizing views and misinformation, his teachings on the importance of rational inquiry become vital. A Stoic approach calls us to engage thoughtfully with differing opinions, emphasizing the need for dialogue grounded in respect and understanding, rather than conflict and division. By fostering spaces for constructive discussion, we can cultivate a societal ethos that values rational thought as the foundation for ethical decision-making. In connecting Zeno's Stoicism to later figures in the Western moral tradition, we can draw parallels with Friedrich Nietzsche's philosophy, which stands in stark contrast to Zeno's. Nietzsche critiqued Stoicism's emphasis on self-control and emotional detachment, while heralding the necessity of embracing one's passions and instincts as core elements of the human experience. Where Stoicism seeks to transcend emotional turmoil, Nietzsche invites individuals to celebrate their emotional truths. Both perspectives serve illustrative purposes, prompting us to explore the balance between Stoic rationality and the passionate engagement with life that Nietzsche espouses. As we consider these various dimensions of Zeno's thought, it becomes evident that Stoicism provides not only a framework for individual conduct, but also a lens through which we can critique and engage with the broader world. The cultivation of virtues, steps toward eudaimonia, becomes a shared journey, inviting us to reflect critically on our collective responsibilities. Whether we are grappling with the complexities of our relationships, confronting societal issues, or navigating the ethical landscape of our rapidly changing world, Zeno's teachings play a significant role in shaping our moral fabric. To conclude, the lessons derived from Zeno of Citium resonate deeply in our contemporary lives. His commitment to virtue, justice, and rationality serves as a guiding principle in a complex and often fragmented society. In grappling with challenges, whether personal or societal, we can turn to his philosophical framework to navigate our responses, urging us to act with intentionality and in consideration of the greater good. As you reflect on Zeno's philosophy, think about how these ideas might inform your own life and choices. Do you find yourself primarily focused on external validations? Or can you cultivate deeper values aligned with virtue? How might the acknowledgement of our shared humanity shape your interactions, encouraging you to contribute to collective actions that promote justice and compassion? By embracing the Stoic principles Zeno espoused, we hold the potential not only to enrich our lives, but also to contribute meaningfully to the world around us. As we continue to explore Zeno of Citium's philosophy, it's important to delve into the practical applications of his teachings, especially as they relate to modern moral dilemmas. The core tenets of Stoicism, articulated by Zeno, emphasize not just personal virtue, but also a commitment to community and shared values. This broader understanding of ethics is essential as we consider our responsibilities as engaged citizens in an increasingly interconnected world. One of the key aspects of Zeno's philosophy is the notion of practicing virtue as a daily discipline. For Zeno, virtue is not a static concept, but a dynamic practice that requires continual reflection and effort. This perspective on virtue as a daily exercise is particularly relevant today as individuals strive for personal growth amidst the challenges of modern life. In workplaces, communities, and even upon social media, individuals are often faced with moments that test their commitment to ethical standards. Here, Zeno's idea that we can cultivate virtue through habitual practice becomes invaluable. To understand how this applies in contemporary settings, let us consider the workplace. In an environment often marked by competition and ambition, professionals might encounter ethical dilemmas that challenge their integrity. For example, when faced with pressure to compromise on values, be it through cutting corners on a project, ignoring toxic work behaviors, or prioritizing profit over ethical considerations, Zeno's Stoic practice encourages individuals to anchor themselves in the virtues they wish to embody. Reflecting on one's choices allows individuals to cultivate courage in standing up for what is right. Targeting actions that not only serve personal interests, but also promote a culture of integrity and respect within the organization. Moreover, Zeno's Stoicism can guide our interactions in social spheres. When engaging in discourse, especially in polarizing times, individuals are often tested by the urge to react impulsively. Zeno's teaching on emotional detachment serves as a reminder to approach conversations with reason and clarity. Instead of responding defensively to disagreements or conflicts, one could reflect on the larger aim of fostering understanding. By taking a step back to consider the shared humanity in discussions, individuals can exemplify Zeno's call for justice and benevolence, encouraging a more compassionate dialogue, even when viewpoints diverge significantly. In the realm of personal relationships, Zeno's emphasis on the importance of the interconnectedness of humanity can also yield profound insights. Family dynamics, friendships, and community ties often face pressures that test one's commitment to care and understanding. For instance, imagine a situation where misunderstandings or disagreements arise with loved ones. A Stoic approach might involve taking a moment to reflect on the shared values and relationships that brought the parties together in the first place. By grounding responses in recognition of our mutual humanity, individuals can cultivate empathy and patience, reinforcing relationships rather than allowing conflict to drive wedges between them. In this way, Zeno's ideas on living in accord with nature extend to our interpersonal lives, encouraging an ethical commitment to nurturing bonds that uplift rather than divide. Another modern application of Zeno's teachings can be observed within discussions surrounding technology and ethical innovations. The rapid pace at which technology is evolving presents numerous ethical questions about how it shapes humanity. The emergence of artificial intelligence, data privacy concerns, and the potential erosion of personal connections raise crucial moral dilemmas. In considering these advancements, we can turn to Zeno's call for rational evaluation. For instance, when discussing the ethics of artificial intelligence, the emphasis on virtue and shared welfare can guide developers and consumers alike. Are we creating technologies that enhance human connection and community? Are we ensuring that these technologies are aligned with virtues that promote justice and equity? Zeno's emphasis on rational deliberation can lead individuals and organizations to consider the broader impacts of technological innovations, asking critical questions about accountability, access, and respect for human dignity. By grounding technological aspirations in Stoic principles, we can guide innovations towards supporting human flourishing. As we reflect on the challenges posed by modernity, we should also recognize the importance of self-examination in Zeno's Stoicism. This introspective practice encourages individuals to assess their motivations and priorities in every action they take. In a society filled with distractions, where instant gratification often overshadows deeper meaning, the ability to reflect becomes paramount. This reflection can manifest in various forms, whether through journaling, meditation, or simple moments of pause throughout the day. Zeno's teaching invites each of us to consider the motives underlying our pursuits. Are we driven primarily by external validation, or do we seek to build a life founded on virtue? Such self-reflection empowers individuals to cultivate authenticity in their choices. Whether in career aspirations, personal relationships, or social commitments, Zeno's approach helps to anchor decisions in principles that lead to a more fulfilled and meaningful existence. While Zeno's Stoicism presents powerful moral guidance, it is also essential to acknowledge the criticisms that arise from this philosophical stance. The core principle of emotional detachment can be particularly contentious in discussions about human experience. Many contemporary theorists and psychologists argue that emotions play an essential role in moral decision-making. They assert that emotions not only inform our ethical intuitions, but also foster connections among individuals. Critics point out the potential danger in advocating for excessive emotional detachment. They argue that it risks dulling our sensitivity to others' experiences and undermining our capacity for empathy. Emotions, after all, are often catalysts for action, prompting individuals to address injustices or express compassion. In response, later thinkers who built upon the Stoic tradition, such as Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, nuanced these discussions by acknowledging the significance of emotion while emphasizing the need for rational regulation of feelings. They proposed that rather than completely suppressing emotions, embracing awareness of them can empower individuals to respond more thoughtfully to ethical dilemmas. The interplay between emotion and reason invites an exploration of how the elements of both can be harmonized in ethical discourse. Modern models of emotional intelligence emphasize the importance of recognizing and managing feelings in conjunction with rational analysis. By drawing upon both Zeno's rationality and the insights of emotional intelligence, individuals can enhance their ethical decision-making, creating spaces for thoughtful responses that honor both the emotional lives of individuals and the rational deliberation considered essential in Stoicism. Furthermore, engaging with Zeno's ideas juxtaposes well against perspectives offered by later philosophers. The philosophical discourse extends to figures such as John Stuart Mill and his utilitarian framework, which prioritizes the greatest good for the greatest number. In contrast to Zeno's focus on virtue, utility emphasizes outcomes and consequences. This divergence sparks critical discussions regarding how to reconcile individual rights and virtue with the collective welfare of society. By exploring Zeno's Stoicism alongside a utilitarian approach, we can enrich our understanding of ethical behavior. In moments of moral complexity, like discussions around public policy, healthcare, or environmental responsibility, balancing individual virtue against collective well-being becomes an intricate exercise. Zeno's emphasis on virtue does not negate the importance of outcomes. Rather, it encourages a holistic viewing of ethics that considers character while also prioritizing justice for all. As we navigate the landscape of moral philosophy informed by Zeno's teachings, it also becomes essential to connect these discussions to contemporary social movements. Zeno's assertion that we all share a rational community invites powerful implications for those advocating for social justice and reform. The calls for equity, recognition, and systemic change resonate deeply with his teachings, as activists work from a place of shared humanity rooted in justice. Consider the urgent calls for racial and gender equality that echo across the globe today. Advocates strive to dismantle structures that perpetuate inequality, often invoking the principles of equity and justice that align with Stoic thought. The commitment to justice Zeno espoused becomes the foundation for ethical frameworks that encourage action toward collective betterment. As we witness protests for change and movements advocating for rights, the essence of Zeno's cosmopolitan view remains alive, challenging individuals to recognize the moral urgency behind collective movements. To foster a clearer understanding, let us think about how Zeno's philosophy can inform individual action within these movements. Zeno's principles urge individuals to act with virtue as they engage in social issues, nurturing a commitment to ethical responsibilities in advocacy. A shared vision of justice provides avenues for collaboration among individuals from diverse backgrounds, united by common goals. Those participating in acts of protest or reform can draw from Zeno's core understanding of interconnectedness, recognizing their role as part of a larger human community. Thus, today's social advocates and reformers stand poised not only to amplify their voices, but also to do so rooted in values that mirror Zeno's philosophical framework. The emphasis on virtue and justice fosters expressions of solidarity that do away with individualistic pursuits and elevate the importance of shared responsibility. In this way, Zeno's ancient ideas maintain their relevance, shaping contemporary dialogues and actions that push toward equity and understanding. In conclusion, Zeno of Citium's teachings extend far beyond the philosophical realm. They invite us to reflect on our ethical conduct in personal, societal, and global contexts. His emphasis on virtue, reason, and interconnectedness offers a lens through which to navigate complexities, whether in our daily lives or our broader societal engagements. As you consider how these Stoic principles may guide your own ethical journey, reflect on Zeno's call to action. How do you navigate the interplay between virtue and the modern world's demands? In moments of challenge or discord, can you embrace reflection and intentionality rather than reactive impulses? Zeno invites us to engage with our values actively, striving to embody virtue within ourselves and our communities. Let this exploration of Stoicism serve as both a compass and a challenge, prompting you to engage critically with the moral dimensions of your actions. With a steady commitment to inner virtue and a recognition of shared humanity, the path illuminated by Zeno becomes not only a philosophical journey, but also an integral guide for living a life of purpose, connection, and integrity in today's world.
Midnight rails under silver moon, dusty boots on a winding road. A shadow's the only friend I've known since she packed up and let me go. Empty whiskey bottle on the seat, her laugh still echoes in my bones. The saddle's heavy with memories. I ride alone where the wind still blows. Nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be. Nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be. Sunrise paints the horizon gold, but it don't warm a lonesome soul. Every town I pass feels half her size. Every trail's haunted by goodbye. I whisper prayers to open skies, hoping someday my heart'll find a brand new path beyond the pain, where broken hearts can heal in time. Nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be. Nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be. Nowhere else to be. Nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be. Nowhere else to be, nowhere else to be.